to Rich Girl TV, where we are resilient, intelligent, conscientious, and happy. I'm your host, Jasmine Womack, and just a little bit about me. I am an educator and author of the new book, 20 Pearls of Wisdom, A Woman's Guide to Self-Preservation. And in 20 Pearls of Wisdom, I give 20 practical tools and tips that women can use to balance the areas of faith, family, fitness, and finance, and stop the habits of self-sabotage and create a life that you love. You can purchase my book on my website, 20pearlsofwisdom.com, and that's 20 spelled all the way out. And it's also available on Amazon, the Apple iBookstore, and Kindle. Now, I recently did a survey of 100 women, and from that survey, over 50% of women said that they were interested about spiritual topics, and that happens to be one of the areas that I like to study the most. And since my first chapter in my book is entitled Create and Maintain a Spiritual Foundation, I decided to shoot a video tonight about what do we do when our prayers aren't heard? Because I kind of mentioned that in my book. I kind of touch on it. And because I think that we've all experienced times in our lives in which it felt like our life was coming down around us. And we would try to talk to people, but nobody would be there. Nobody would answer the phone, or it seemed like nobody was interested, or maybe we really didn't have anybody to talk to, or maybe we didn't want to share what we were going through. But yet when we would go to pray, we still end up feeling super lonely and like nothing is happening. So what do we do when we feel like our prayers aren't being heard or haven't been answered? And I think that I have not necessarily some solutions, but some things for us to think about tonight with that. And so number one, I have to ask you, what are you praying for? And sometimes I have to check myself. What am I praying for? Are our prayers rooted in selfishness? You know, are we praying for something that's not in our best interest to have? I think a lot of times we pray for things and we expect God to, well, first of all, we pray when it's convenient. Like when everything is going wrong, then we won't go pray. But when everything is going right, we don't pray. But when everything is going wrong, we want to go pray. And then we are selfish in that we expect God to answer our prayers, do exactly what we want Him to do, when we want Him to do it, and the way we want Him to do it. And that's just not right. And things just don't work like that. What if what you're praying for isn't in your best interest to have? What if it's not time for what you're praying for to manifest? What if there's some things that you still need to develop within you before that prayer is answered? Or else because if it happens before time, it'll mess things up. So these are things that we have to ask ourselves, and instead of just saying, God's answer my prayer. What if you're praying for God to fix a situation that you put yourself in and you have the power to get out of? I saw on Facebook one day, some people post their prayers and they were praying that God provide to pay their light bill. But this was after she had gave some knucklehead who wasn't working all her money. Like, she created a situation and she has the power to get out of it. So ask yourself, is this something that you created? Do you have the power to get out of it? Is what I'm praying for in my best interest? What if am I praying for something that's expired that I need to walk away from? So we have to ask ourselves these questions. Number two, what if God already answered your prayer, but you just don't like the answer? I know that has happened to me before. Like, I might be praying for something, or I might be praying for somebody, or praying, about, somebody, and the answer be on the wall, clear as day, but I ignore it, or I'll keep turning a blind eye to it because I don't like it. It's not what I want to do. So that goes back to number one, is your prayer rooted in selfishness. You know, so we have to ask ourselves, are we ignoring the obvious answer because we just don't like it? Maybe it's going to cause us some temporary discomfort, some temporary pain, and we just don't like what we're being told, so we just going to ignore it. Well, in that case, you can't say God isn't answering your prayer. You have to go back and do some reflection and analysis of the situation. Look at it for what it is, and if the writing is on the wall, do something with that letter. Number 3, what if God is trying to talk to you, but you are so disconnected and distracted, like every night, instead of trying to get into your word and just spend some time in silence, you are busy on social media. Every time a text message come through or a like notification come through, you checking it. Your mind and your spirit is constantly bombarded and doing things like you're occupied. You know, God speaks in stillness. God speaks in quietness. And so in order to hear the prayer, you have to set aside some time for quietness, okay? And you have to open your spirit and be willing to receive, you know, what your intuition or God is trying to speak to you. Number 4, are you using prayer to try to control people or a situation? One thing that I've learned a long time ago, you can't control anybody and you can't control anything. The only person and the only thing that you can control is yourself. So don't try to control others through prayer and then be disappointed when they don't change. Okay? I do think that God can soften people's hearts and spirits because it speaks of those type of situations in the Bible. But the only person that you can change is you. So if you're going to pray for somebody to change, for God to change somebody, pray for God to change you. And last, number 5, what are you doing on your end? Are you praying, but not putting in work on your end to try to manifest it? Like, it goes back to what I was saying with number 2. Okay, what if he's putting things in place, but you're not doing your part? You still have to do your part. Okay, you can't ask God for more money to pay your bills when you're not managing the money that you already have. You're spending frivolously, spending $200 on bundles of hair, and then another $100 to get the hair put in, and then talking about you don't have any money, but you're not budgeting. You know, you're not using your money in a wise manner. Maybe you asking God for a husband, but that husband can't come because you too busy keeping Nick, Tom, and Jerry in your space and around. They're totally blocking the energy from coming. So what are you doing on your end? You know, these are things that we have to think about. So I do think we're never alone. You are never alone. God is always hearing your prayers. Do not give up. Don't quit your faith. Don't lose your faith. Don't go and think, oh, God's not hearing me, I give up. You think about these things, these 5 things. What are you praying for? Assess what you're praying for. Ask yourself, has God already answered? But you're ignoring the answer. Are you too disconnected and distracted to hear what he's saying? Are you using your prayer to try to control people, things, or situations? And 5, are you doing anything? Like, what are you doing on your end to either help the prayer manifest or to continue blocking it from manifesting? So I do hope that this was helpful. Please leave a comment. You guys can find me on Instagram at authorjasminewomack. It's all one word. Author, AUTHOR. Jasmine, that's JASMINE, Womack with 1 M, WOMACK. I'm on Facebook under the same name, Author Jasmine Womack. And I hope that you guys come and follow me and come and chat it up with me so we can talk, because I love talking to y'all. So I hope that this was helpful, and I will see you guys for the next episode of Rich Girl TV. Bye.